Hi, Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel where I wipe away the stigma of mental illness by talking about my own struggles, having borderline personality disorder, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. I talk about my anxiety and panic attacks, my depression. I talk about my narcissistic mother and narcissism, my schizophrenic father. I've written a book about him, and the link is down below, about growing up with a schizophrenic father. I talk about my unethical psychologists that sexually abused me and exploited me, and I've written many books about them as well, and those links are below too. And just about a plethora of other mental health related topics, including my own therapies. Now, I only come on here as a former patient of almost 20 years. I am not a licensed therapist. I do not hold a degree in psychology, so I cannot diagnose you or give you even a professional opinion. All I ask of you in return, please, is your kindness and respect in the comments. Please be kind to me, be kind to other people. We don't need to agree on everything. Variety is the spice of life, but we always need to show each other respect and kindness. Now, if you are new to my channel, welcome. Stick around, take a chance, hit that little box on the lower right hand corner that says subscribe. It's 100% free, and that way you will be notified whenever a new video comes out. Give it a thumbs up, like and share it with your family and friends and on other social media platforms. Feel free to comment and share with me, and I will always respond back to you. Today's topic of discussion is defense mechanisms. What are defense mechanisms? We all have them. Every one of us uses defense mechanisms. Myself especially, and I'm more psychologically aware of them. And when I use them now, because I'm much older, and I don't want to say I've studied psychology, but I'm more aware of things because I've been in a relationship with a psychologist for years, and a private personal relationship, and I've been a patient, and I have watched videos and read books. And defense mechanisms are unhealthy coping skills that we use unconsciously, which means that we're not aware that we're using them when we use them. All right. They're a way to keep us safe and protected and happy, and so we don't have to deal with anything negative, adverse, or bad, right? But as I said, they're unhealthy coping skills, and we're unconscious of them when we use them. I'm going to talk about a few. There's many of them. I'm going to try to, cover a few of them. The first one is denial. Refusing to accept things. You won't admit something is wrong. Like, I've done this, and I'm sure you've done this. I've done this all my life practically in every relationship and every personal endeavor. I've used denial. If someone is abusive in a relationship, you go, oh, they're really not that bad, Or, he yelled at me because, I was aggravating him. I asked him over and over again, is he going to take me out to dinner over the weekend, and what restaurant we're going to go to? And I kept hounding him, and that's why he screamed at me, and slammed the table. It was really my fault. See, or another denial is, I really don't drink that much, so I drink 2 or 3 glasses of wine every night. That's nothing, I don't get drunk. I don't, I don't fall down unconscious. I really don't have a drinking problem. How many times have I used denial? Or, I'm really not that overweight. Not now, but when I used to be very overweight. No one believes me. But I was 175 pounds one time. And I could say, I'm really not that bad. I'm under 200 pounds, even though I'm 5'2". There's a lot of women much fatter than me. I'm really not that bad. Denial, 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 denial. If we don't admit there's a problem, then no problem, right? There's no problem, right? But that's an unhealthy coping mechanism, just to, and we use it all the time. Another one is displacement. Say that you're really angry. This has happened to my husband a lot, this one. If you go, he used to work as a cashier in a bookstore before he became a computer programmer back in the old days. And people would come in with coupons that expired. And they'd want to get, they'd want to get the money off the item. Even my husband would say, well, this coupon expired. And they would be really angry because it would say it was a 50% coupon off the item. And instead of being angry at themselves, all right, displacement means that they get angry at my husband instead. And they said, you should still honor this coupon. I have it here. It was just expired yesterday. What are you talking about? It's only one day ago. I should get the discount. Give me the discount. And my husband will say, sorry, I can't do that because the coupon is expired. So instead of being angry at themselves, saying, oh, what an idiot. Why didn't I come to the store yesterday? I was going to go yesterday, but then I got a headache and I decided I'll just go tomorrow. Why didn't I look at the date on that stupid coupon? I could have went yesterday and saved 50%. And I bought, I have over $100 worth of merchandise. I could have saved $50. Instead of getting angry at themselves, they displaced the anger and put it on my husband. And they'd say, I want to speak to your manager. So my husband calls the manager, store manager. This is true. This is a perfect example of displacement. And the manager comes and looks at the coupon and says, oh, this is expired. It's no good today. You could have used it yesterday, not today. Sorry. I said, now what are they going to do? Get angry at the manager too? So then they just walk off in a huff. So that's another one of a defense mechanism. Another one is repression. I've used this all the time. I have repressed a good chunk of my childhood. Lately, I've been having nightmares about it. It's the old house, the two-family house that I lived there all my life until I moved out and moved into this ranch, 7-room ranch house on a dead-end street now. I've been living here for 20 years. But prior to that, I only lived in the house I was raised in, which is only a block away from where I live now. So I lived in Boston my whole life. And I have bad nightmares, horrible, about fires in the house. So there's something really evil. I know I was brutally beaten by my mother and tortured in that house. And I've talked about that in other videos. And my dad, my dad died in that house. My mother died in that house. My mother died in the living room in that house. And 3 months later, my dad died in the kitchen in that house. My son got traumatic brain injury and his eyes were rolled back in his head and he was in a coma and he lost his mind, his brain in that house. My father had psychotic, he was paranoid schizophrenic. I mean, everything bad, horrible happened in that house. And I blocked a big chunk of it out, my early childhood. And that's called repression. When you push back the bad memories, it's kind of like, they're in this black hole and you can't get at them. I buried them. I have amnesia, okay? I can't tell you all the abuse I had as a child because it was so horrific that I repressed it. Repression, defense mechanism. The only way I could cope, the only way I could live through the horror of my childhood was to repress the memories. So as an adult, I have amnesia. I really don't remember anything before 10 or 11 years old. Most kids remember their early childhood. I don't because I repress those memories. I'm aware that I repress them. I'm aware that I do have amnesia from my childhood because they were just so horrible that I just, later on they're going to come out. They come out now in nightmares. All right. So part of my unconscious wants to make me aware, but another part, I don't want to be aware of it because I have enough problems on my plate in today. I don't need to go back to yesterday's nightmare. I have enough nightmares on my plate now, my present. The another one is projection. Let's talk about projection. We assume people are thinking the way that we think. So if we feel, unattractive or fat, we assume that other people think we're unattractive or fat. Like, why would that guy, want to date me? I'm 15 pounds overweight. And that person probably isn't even thinking that. But we project our insecurities onto someone else, and that we're not good enough, and that someone else is going to think that way too. Like, I've done this all the time. Why do I want to bother talking to that person? That person probably doesn't even want anything to do with me. How many of you thought that way? Or how many guys have said, well, I'm not going to ask that girl out. She's hot, I bet she has tons of boyfriends. I bet everyone asks her out. Why would she ever go out with me, And then they miss out on chances, They don't ask people out, so they miss out on chances on relationships because of projection. Or maybe they don't apply for a certain job or college because they think, oh, I'm never going to get into that college. Not with my grades. I'm too stupid. That's never going to happen. So they don't take a chance. They don't take a risk because they're projecting their insecurities and saying, you know what, I'll never get that job. I'll never get into that college. Or, oh my God, that bother asking that girl out. She's never going to say yes. I'm a loser. So why take the risk? Why put myself out there when I already know? And how could you already know? You don't know unless you take the risk, right? Isn't that true? The next one is compensation. Now, what is compensation? Compensation is if you feel that let's just say that you don't feel smart enough. So you get a tutor and you study morning, noon, and night. You have no social life, all right? You're over, what compensation is, it really means overcompensating for something that you feel you're not good enough. So if you feel like you're stupid, I'm going to have to study all weekend. Your friends ask you, oh, come on, there's a concert Saturday night. We got a free ticket for you because someone got sick and canceled. Well, here, come on. Oh, I can't. I have to study. Well, can't you study Sunday? Well, I have to study all day Saturday night, and I have to study Sunday because you know what? I need to get 100 on this test. I'm not up to it. I'm never going to, pass this test. My God. So they're overcompensating because they feel like, oh, I'm stupid. I need to spend my whole time studying and, not have a proper time for study, a proper time for relaxing. Or if, like, say you have a weight problem, right? A lot of people do this. Oftentimes it leads to eating disorders. Why is that? Because people will overcompensate. Say someone is like 5 or 10 pounds overweight. Look at me, I'm obese. I'm so fat. So then they starve themselves because, they might be only like 5 or 10 pounds overweight, but they starve, they work out excessively, they limit their food intake, and then they lose that 5 or 10 pounds and they want to lose 5 more. I had a girlfriend like this too. I was like this too. I took diet pills. Oh, well, I want to lose 5 more just for security, so that if I gain 5, I still won't be overweight. It becomes like, an obsession with them. They're working out constantly. They're starving themselves. They won't eat. They just can't enjoy food because they don't feel that they feel insecure about either their weight, their looks, or what about plastic surgery? That's another thing, right? How many people have you seen overcompensate for aging, right? By doing all these plastic surgeries. My hairdresser does it. She's 10 years younger than me. And she gets Botox on her eyes so she don't have lines here. She gets Botox on her lips so she has big plump lips. And she's 10 years younger than me. I have never gotten Botox, but it's available where I go at Lords and Ladies for my hair. I just get my hair dyed. That's all I do. I don't have any Botox going on here. That's why I got the lines and my lips aren't big and plump. I just put some lip gloss. That's it. All right, so there's another one called Regression, and that's when you act very immature and like you regress down to a child. I've done this, and I still do this a lot as a defense mechanism. You know, like the whiny child that, you know, screams and cries and throws a tantrum till they get their own way. This is regression. They act immature. They'll just, you know, pout, go around pouting and be moody because you didn't do what they wanted you to do. I'm guilty of this too. If I don't get my own way, boy, ooh, I can be very childlike. I can regress down to a child. I can pout, I can scream and shout, I can, you know, act up, and yeah. So I have regressed, and I had my Harvard psychologist regress me down to a child too. And I talked about that. So this is a professional doctor regressing me. I talked about that in other videos. You got to backtrack and look through all these videos so you can see that. Also, there's another one called reaction formation, which is acting the opposite of how you feel. So in reaction formation is kind of like, say a boy has a crush on a girl, right? And but he doesn't want to act like he does, so he just teases her. And the guy his friends say, "Hey, you like her, don't you?" Are you kidding? I don't like her at all. I think she's a loser. But he always is teasing her because he has a crush on her, but he acts the opposite of how he feels. He doesn't let anyone know, including the girl, that he really does like her. So it's just kind of acting the opposite of what you feel because you don't want to give yourself away. And it's just a way of coping too. A lot of times people, you know, I come on these videos and I act, you know, very positive, and I put forth a lot of energy, and I love doing these videos, but I'm not always the happiest person. You know, if you listen to me talking, I'm really not the happiest person deep down. So I you know, I act presentable and you know, I smile, but deep down I'm not so happy. And you know, I openly tell you that, you know, about how I really am. Another coping defense mechanism is rationalization. You rationalize what you do. If you mistreat someone, you could say, well, they really deserved it, you know. So you rationalize treating someone bad by saying that person deserved it. Like, how many times have I done this? And when I lose my temper with my son, maybe when I was in my 30s, if my child was very young, a toddler, say, and I lost my patience with him and screamed at him, like, go to your room now. And I could rationalize that. Well, you know, I'm just tired. Look, he left all his toys all over the living room, and I had to clean them all up, and he tore apart his bed again, because Alex used to tear apart his bed. Not only would I make the whole bed, he'd take all the covers off, all the sheets off, then throw the mattress over here and the pillows over here. So I'd be like, I'd come in and I'd have to make the bed again. You know, so whatever, if I lose my temper, I would just blame him, saying, well, if he didn't do that, then, you know, he just, you know, if he didn't do that, of course I wouldn't be upset. You know, it's just putting it on the other person, just rationalizing that, you know, what you did was wrong, you lost your temper, you know, and you rationalize your bad behavior. How many people rationalize their bad behavior? Like when I did pornography, you know, how many times did I rationalize that? I said, well, we had no money, you know. Well, maybe you could have done something else. Well, it was during COVID and no jobs were available. Well, people got jobs where they didn't have to go out. They got phone jobs. I hate talking on the phone. I really hate it. Where, they worked at home and I don't know, marketing or ads or something, and they did on the phone, and they got paid that way. You didn't have to do, well, I had to do that, So you rationalize, oh, I had to take all my clothes off for men because it was during COVID and there was no jobs and we had no money and whatever. Rationalize me doing something that, I thought was despicable. Later on, I said, oh God, I should have never done that, and I regret doing that. But I rationalized it away at the time, saying, I have to do that. We need the money. See what I'm saying? So, another thing is passive-aggressive behavior, where someone does something to you and you're upset. Instead of coming and talking to them directly face-to-face and say, hey, I didn't like that comment you made. You do something mean and underhanded. They don't even know you're upset, first of all, okay? You might show up late meeting the person, like, you're a half an hour late. What happened? Oh, I got busy. So you take it out on them because you're upset at what they did. But you never tell them how upset you are. They don't have no idea or clue what they did. I have been guilty of this all the time. I know I used to do this a lot when I was a teenager or a younger person. I used to I was passive aggressive with friends. I never had the courage to tell someone, that what you said really hurt me. So I would take it out on the person in other ways. They would have no idea, why I was acting mean to them. It was because I was doing revenge. I was revenging them for something they did that hurt me, that they had no idea what it was that they did, because I never had the courage to come forward and talk about it and tell them. I know I'm guilty of this. I'm trying to think of it, the last time. I pretty much don't use passive aggressive anymore. Like if your husband one night says, this steak is a little too tough, next night you might not cook dinner. You might say, oh, I got a bad headache, I'm sick, I'm not cooking tonight. So you might, and he might not have any idea that you don't have a headache, you're just not cooking because he said the steak was a little tough the night before. So I'm going to show him, but you don't tell the person you're doing it. You take it out on them in another way, or you might have nothing to do with cooking. The next time your husband wants sex, you might say, nah, I got a headache, I'm not in the mood. And you deny him sex because you're getting back at him for something he did or said. But he has no idea that you're using that as a weapon. A lot of women use sex as a weapon. As passive aggressive. They don't tell their boyfriend or spouse that they're upset at something they said or did, and instead they deny them sex. They just say, oh no, I got a headache, or I'm not in the mood. And they do this for a while, or they give them the silent treatment. The silent treatment is a great passive aggressive example. I'm not talking to a person, your friend calls and calls. I've done this with my friend Linda. My friend Linda didn't come to my son's birthday party, and she didn't tell me. After my son's birthday party, I got home. I got in the house, and there was a message on my answering machine, and it was from Linda. And Linda said, "Oh yeah, we couldn't go. Joseph, my son, didn't want to go." Yeah, no shit, you couldn't go. You didn't show up, and you didn't tell me you showed up. So Linda kept calling after that, and I, passive aggressive. I was upset because she didn't tell me she wasn't coming to my son's birthday party. My other friend said, where's Linda? She's one of your best friends. So anytime she called after that, I ignore her. Like week after week, she'd be calling, Sandy, are you all right? What's going on? Never once told her I was upset because she didn't come to Austin's birthday party. She didn't have any idea. She didn't have a clue. I just ignored her phone calls as revenge. Got her back that way. That's acting passive aggressively. All right, so that's just a few. There's many, many more. I'm sure I didn't cover everything. Can you identify with these unhealthy coping skills, defense mechanisms? Can you identify them in other people? Can you identify them in yourself? Please tell me in the comments. I would love to know. Let's have an ongoing discussion about them. Everyone uses them. And, you know, if you look deep enough, you'll see that you have used them too. All right, until next time, you take care.